Hey everyone, welcome back to Life Lessons with Chuck Mulswight. This is lesson number 2, and today we're going to be talking about the difference between maturity and manliness. Our society is pretty polarized. It's either manliness or manliness is toxic. You have liberal people who are saying that anything that men do is not only toxic, but it's sexist, it's misogynistic, and so they try to suppress and beat down any man who expresses any form of manliness. And so in response to that, there is a group of men who have overcompensated, and they're all about manliness. They're about their beers, they're about their muscles, they're about their outdoor things, they're about their tools, whatever it is. And there's nothing wrong with any of those things, but yet when the direct focus becomes those, or we define who we are by our manliness, we miss a very important aspect of being a man, especially being a man of God, and that is maturity. And this morning, or this podcast is all about maturity over manliness. You can be manly, you can pursue your passions, you can pursue your hobbies, you can pursue your interests, but God says to put away the childish things and become an adult. And we need to move from our teenage years into our early 20s. We need to make a push towards not manliness, but maturity. Because the fact is that as we get older and as we get a career, as we get married, as we have a family and we get responsibilities, maturity is going to be demanded of us. And in fact, a lot of men shy away from maturity and really go towards immaturity and get immersed in all of these manly things. And so that's why you see this one polar opposite side saying that masculinity is toxic, because people are so consumed with that. And what really both sides need and what they're looking for is maturity. We'll never be mature by being engrossed in manly things. I'm just going to tell you that straight out. I know people will disagree with me. And the fact is that you don't have to have manly attributes to be a mature man. One of my favorite books is Titus 10 by Dr. Josh Smith, and he talks about how his dad was one of the best men that he ever knew. And one of the greatest lines of that whole book is, "My dad was an avid insider, or an avid indoorsman," and he couldn't work on a car. He had never gone hunting, but yet he still looked at his dad as one of the greatest men that he ever knew. And so it shows you that being a man isn't about outward manliness. It's about the maturity that you show as a man. The things that go against that maturity are things like selfishness, and other attributes like that. And oftentimes guys, as a way to cope with the stress of life, or as a way to get away from the drama that they don't want to do, they will immerse themselves in these manly tasks, and declare themselves a man's man. And in reality, all they are is an immature grown-up male. And we have enough immature grown-up males. We need more mature men, especially more mature godly men who express the attributes and the character of God, which is very manly. And Jesus was a carpenter. He didn't own a house, and so he often would be sleeping outside, and so you could call him an outdoorsman as well. He hung around fishermen. So he expressed a lot of those things, but yet here he was a man who was wise, he was selfless, he was humble, and so he continues to be this perfect example of what a man is. And yet we have this Euro picture of Jesus with the long flowing brown hair and kind of thing, and I don't think he looked anything like that. In fact, I think if we were to come in contact with him, we'd be very impressed, not just with his maturity, but also with his manliness as well. And so we run the risk of doing serious damage when we try to cover over our maturity with manliness. And the thing is you can have manliness with maturity, but you can't have manliness without maturity, because that is just immaturity in a grown male body. And we need more men who are mature. We need men who eschew selfishness. We need men who think of others before they think of themselves. We need men who see themselves as providers and protectors, not just of their own family, but as a culture and as a church and as a community. We need men who are going to stand up against what culture is trying to ram down our throats and be mature about it and say, that's not going to happen. And you're going to have to go through me to make it happen. And so we need more men like that. And so what do we need to get rid of? We need to get rid of selfishness. I think the number one cause of lack of maturity is just straight up selfishness. We have a hard time thinking of anybody else except for ourselves. And if we have to think of anybody else, it bothers us. And so we need to get rid of that selfishness. But we also, too, we need to be able to think about other people. And so I want to give you 3 things today in this podcast on how you can elevate maturity over manliness. And I can guarantee you, if you elevate maturity over manliness, your manliness will increase. And you will be attractive to more than just the other guys who are into your thing. You'll be attractive to more women. You'll be attractive to people in leadership. You'll be attractive to a lot of people. And I'm not talking sexual attractiveness, that people will be drawn to, because we are in a Sahara of immaturity. And when a mature man comes around, it's noticed, and people glom onto it. And so 3 things that, and these are not the end all be all, but these are 3 things that I think that men really need to work on. And the first is selflessness or humility. And that's thinking of ourselves less, not thinking less of ourselves, but thinking of ourselves less. Jesus said, if you're going to follow me, which is the term of discipleship there, if you're going to walk in my footsteps, follow Jesus, you need to deny yourself and pick up your cross. And a lot of people, they love the whole thing of picking up the cross. We want to just skip over the deny ourselves, and we can't. We have to learn how to put others first. We have to learn how to think of what's important. We have to do what's best in the situation, not often what we want to do. And so we need to learn that humility, and we need to learn how to be selfless and deny ourselves. And I'm not talking about like intermittent fasting. And I'm not talking about going on these great escapades where we have to really test ourselves. That's not what I'm talking about. When I'm talking about denying ourselves, I'm talking about literally thinking of ourselves less, putting others before ourselves, and doing what is best, doing the right thing in the situation as opposed to what we want to do or what we think is best for ourselves. And so we need to learn how to do that. The second thing is that we need to exhibit wisdom. And wisdom is knowledge that is put into practice. And is proven to be true. And we need more men who aren't full of knowledge and full of useless facts. We need more men who have proven wisdom and experience in their lives. And what I'm talking about that is they've actually gone out and taken the Bible and they've applied it to their life and they've obeyed it and they've seen it come to fruition. We need more men who can step into a situation with their wisdom and say, this is the right thing to do, and this is what I think this group should do, and lead them in that. Because the fact is we have a lot of guys who like to be funny. We have a lot of guys who like to be sarcastic and cynical, and those provide very little wisdom. Now, they're okay from time to time, but the fact is that we need more men who are going to step up with wisdom, not just knowledge. Nobody wants a walking Wikipedia. What they want is a walking Solomon, or they want a walking, a person who has been there and done that. And increasingly, we're developing generations that are resistant and rebellious against wisdom. And that's why it's needed even more. And so one of the marks of a mature man is that they express and they exhibit wisdom in their words and in their actions. And then the final area of maturity is the ability to put others before yourself. Now, I know I've mentioned this in the other facets, but this is a real key right here, because the fact is that men think that they function really well when they're given a task and they're left alone and they can just do it on their own and they don't have to be bothered. And you know what? That's low level fruit manliness right there. We need men who are willing to see themselves as providers and protectors. We need men who are willing to step up and really put the interests of other people, starting with their wife, starting with their children, but also moving out to their church, their community, and in the culture as a whole. I mentioned in the first podcast that a resounding amount of young men, not just white men, but young men of all colors, black and brown and all those different, they all resoundingly voted for Trump. Why? Well, because he is a picture, a model of somebody that they want to follow. And they're rejecting all of this all of this fake men that they're throwing out there. And they're looking for models and guys who are over 18, guys who are over 20. We need to start being that model of what it means to put other people in front of themselves. Because guys, young men especially, are looking for role models to follow. And they're not just looking for the Donald Trumps or the Elon Musk. They're looking for men in their own lives. And a lot of them don't get it from their dads, because their dads have been emasculated by their culture, and they're afraid to act like a man, or they overact like a man and are non-existent. And so they're desperately looking for it in their churches, in their communities, in their schools. And we need men who are willing to step up and deny themselves and truly put other people and especially our young men and women. We need to be the protectors for them. The society is coming out of this. Trans movement is all about perversion, of going after our children. That's why they're grooming them at a young age and they're giving them confusion. So these pervert transsexuals can actually prey upon them. I mean, I mentioned the P. Diddy party. I mean, it's like when stuff starts coming out about that party, if it ever comes out, you're going to find a lot of people that are worshipped by our culture are just sick perverts. And what we need are men who are going to step in and be those protectors. And you have to have a mentality of putting other people first before you do that. And so, guys, I'm just challenging you right now. Work towards maturity over manliness, because if you get maturity, manliness will follow in whatever form or shape that God has created you. But if you put manliness before maturity, you will just be a self-engrossed grown male who is useless. And I'm sorry if I'm offending you, but I've just seen thousands and thousands of models of that. And we need men who are mature, who express humility, who express wisdom, and who express that putting other people first in the role of provider and protector. Hey guys, hope this helps you out. If you like it, hit a like and subscribe, either on the video or the podcast. Give me a review to kind of build this platform. God has just kind of put it on my heart. And hopefully I'm going to get to the point where I can post 2 of these a week. So if you have any comments, you have any questions, you want to argue with me, put it in the comments. I don't care. I'm looking forward to that. But God bless you guys. Have a wonderful rest of your day.